Hey everyone, this is convening of the Higher Education and Employment Advancement meeting. I think this is our last JF meeting for the year. Just in case anything comes up, we do have room for next week, but assuming everything goes to plan, today is the last day to JF bills. So with that, I will kick it over to my co-chair, Senator Slapp, for opening remarks.
Thank you, Representative Elliott, and I'll have some very brief remarks at the end of the meeting, but otherwise ready to get going and look forward to working with everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator. And Senator Whitkos, any comments from you?
I'll echo my Senate Chair's sentiments. I'm ready to proceed, Mr. Chair.
All right, and Representative Haynes.
As usual, all ready to go.
All right, thank you, Representative. And Representative Turco, anything from you?
Excited about some good legislation that hopefully will be passing out of the committee today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. So we will move on to item number 1, House Bill number 5115, an act requiring a plan to increase the number of childcare centers on or near each campus of the regional community technical colleges and state universities. This is a JF to the floor. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Slapp. Could I have a second?
Second, Representative Farrar.
Second by Representative Farrar. Do we have any discussion? Senator Whitkos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be a no vote today, not because I don't think it's a worthwhile venture, but we're asking potentially a public university to compete against private businesses by getting into the daycare business, if you will, for lack of better terms. And I think during the public hearing, we heard a lot of testimony from individuals who felt that a way to combat this would be to more fully fund the Care for Kids programs, and which I agree with. But the thought that we may require, if there's no facilities close by, to have a potential daycare facility built on the campuses, which would be run potentially by the state. And I just don't think it's something that I would support if it's in direct competition with the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my comments also align with Senator Whitkos. I think it's a very good idea. I think certainly a number of students would benefit from this. They have children and then they want to finish their education or start their education. I think it's an important initiative. I don't think it's a good idea to compete with the private sector. They're already doing it quite well. I would love to see the foundations of each of the community colleges take this on in concert with the private sector and the daycare providers. I would support that. But the way this is written right now, I will not be in support of it. But again, think the concept's a good one. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Slapp.
Thank you, Representative Elliott. Yeah, I just want to add that I do think, and we've heard in the public hearing, that this there is no question a significant need for this, and this would help with accessibility and with retention of our students. And there's nothing that dictates, prescribes that it has to be necessarily a government solution in terms of competing with the private sector. It actually could augment and assist the private sector. At least that's the way that I read it. So I think it's important to pass the bill, keep the conversation going, and us, working collaboratively, try to address this issue. So I would urge my colleagues to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Seeing no other discussion, Madam Administrator, could you prepare the roll? As a reminder to everybody in the committee, could you please keep your cameras on and get ready to unmute when your name is called?
House Bill 5115, JF to the floor. Representative Elliott.
Rep. Elliott is yes.
Senator Slapp.
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Could you do it one more time? You didn't come up on screen.
Yep. Senator Slapp votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haynes.
Representative Haynes votes no.
Senator Whitkos.
Senator Whitkos votes no.
Representative Turco.
Representative Turco votes yes.
Senator Flexer. Representative Ackert.
Representative Ackert vote no.
Representative Case. Representative Exum.
Representative Farrar.
Representative Farrar votes yes.
Representative Haddad,
Representative Haddad votes yes.
Senator Haskell,
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Senator Lopes, Senator Maroney,
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Representative McGee, Representative
Representative-
Napoli. Oh, I'm sorry, Representative McGee.
Okay, Representative McGee votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Napoli,
Representative Napoli votes yes.
Representative Rochelle,
Representative Rochelle votes yes.
Representative Scott, Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes yes.
Representative Stallworth, Representative Vale,
Representative Vale votes no.
Representative Wood,
Representative Wood votes no.
Representative Ziogas,
Ziogas votes no.
okay, thanks. Senator Flexer, stop coming in the room. Okay,
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
sorry.
Senator
Senator
Flexer in a stationary vehicle votes yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Rep. Ziogas, you are unmuted, just so you know. Thank you, Madam Administrator. Moving on, we'll move on to item number 2. This is House Bill number 5300, an act requiring legislative approval for the merger of closing of institutions within the Connecticut state colleges and universities and prohibiting the consolidation of the regional community technical colleges. The proposed action is a JFS to the floor. There are some minor technical changes that were made to the language to ensure that there was no conflict. And with that, could we have a motion?
So moved, Representative Smith.
So moved by Representative Smith. Could we have a second?
Second,
Second by Senator Flexer. Do we have any discussion? Senator Whitcos, followed by Senator Maroney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I not be in support of the bill today, for a couple of reasons. I think that when the Board of Regents came to light or came to fruition several years ago, it was wrought by havoc by the leadership of the board at the time. And it wasn't until our most recent past president of the Board of Regents came to be the president, speaking of Marco Jakim, where I felt comfortable that the board was doing the right by students and by the faculty members as well. I mean, it's a very complex issue. And I think by creating a state statute that would prohibit the Board of Regents now under President Chang to do what's best for the students is just wrong. We had issues where the board had threatened to close one of the colleges, the community colleges that was either Middletown or Middlebury, one over that area. And immediately, I remember a bill was passed in the Senate that prevented that from happening and never got called in the House, but we worked it out between the administration and the legislature, and everything seemed to progress smoothly. We just asked for our central office over at the Board of Regents to spend countless hours and money to look at moving forward the Students First initiative, which would combine the 12 community colleges into the one. And through our accrediting agency, NICHI, who is currently responsible for accrediting our current community colleges. And they don't look at as a cost savings measure. They look at the quantity and the quality of the education provided to the students. And that is still part of their charge as the accrediting agency. And I guess they voted favorably on the first step of the merger because our folks did their due diligence in the central office. And I'm supportive of that effort wherever we can do to truly make students first, we're not going to please everybody on every little thing that comes along with the merger. But I think that the universities and our colleges are moving in the right direction. We're putting the key people in place. And I think at the end of this, students will benefit. But I would not want to throw any roadblock up, which could hamper the ability for the Board of Regents to move forward in our Students First plan. So with that, I will be a no vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Maroney, followed by Representative Ackert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to say that while I appreciate the concept, I do agree with Senator Whitcoast that I don't want to unnecessarily tie the hands. And I think I have some issues with the drafting. So while I'll be a no vote for now, I may change my vote on the floor.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Ackert, followed by Representative Vale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We got to mute a computer. Sorry, 1 second. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a yes vote on this. I think that when you close an institution, that may be a savings for the school or whatever it may be, but it also makes an economic impact in the community, a strong economic impact in the community. There's a lot of supporting businesses around that. There's the impact of commuting. You know, one of the things that we tried to do here is have colleges in areas of the state of Connecticut that was easy to access. So I'm a yes vote on this at this time. I did see there is a automatic, if they notify us and there is a no action on ours after a year, and that's quite a bit of time. I think that this committee will move quicker in that case, and our chambers will do the same. But I did notice that in the language, if we fail to act, that it goes by what is recommended. So I didn't know if that was necessary to be in legislation, but I'm going to be a yes on this for today. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Vale, followed by Senator Haskell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To me, I have a question. If I'm gonna turn my volume on. Give me 1 second. All right. Aren't we just voting for legislative approval? Is there anything in this legislation that says that the Board of Regents can't recommend a merger?
I think that's right. Noreen, could you correct me if that's incorrect?
Well, Section 2 in the bill does prohibit pursuing any accreditation for combining the community colleges into one institution.
Okay, well, I agree with that concept anyways, but the other part, as far as mergers go, that would be, again, they could still recommend that, but to us, that come through the legislature, it's just another line of, to make sure we're doing things properly. For 2 years, I've listened for testimony of how poorly everything's been handled with this merger and the consolidation of community colleges. I think this legislation is good, and I think it makes more sense, and I will be supporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Haskell.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And coming to you from public transit.
Senator, I hate to do this to you, but you're coming in real choppy, and I have a feeling it's not going to get better anytime soon. So I'm going to cut you off right there. Jeannie, is there a way that we... There we go. Sorry, Senator. Representative Farrar, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Is Senator Haskell?
First of all,
Okay, all good. All good. Thank you, Chair Elliott. I think even in serving now in my first term, we've certainly heard a range of testimony from our faculty and students with their concerns, which is so appreciated by all of us on this committee. I will be I will be voting yes on this today to move this bill forward for further consideration for our entire legislature. But I do want to kind of note for ourselves as a committee, the key considerations that I think one is that myself and I know many others, we have had concerns about the process of this consolidation and merger. But I do also want to note that there are true instances in this merger that I do think have recognized the needs of our students, just from the simple aspect of them being able to more easily transfer between institutions and the focus on retention moving forward. So again, I will be voting yes out of committee, and I hope more than anything, this indicates our interest in really focusing the efforts in this consolidation so that we're better united in how we're serving our students and faculty and communities as a whole. So thank you to the chair.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Haskell for a second kind of first time, followed by Representative Smith.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. And I can assure you, over in the Transportation Committee, we're working to improve cell service along the New Haven line. But in the meantime, I just wanted to very briefly chime in and thank the chairs for the very serious oversight that they have done. I really appreciated the recent convening of an oversight committee to receive an update on the Students First plan. And I really understand the very good and laudable intentions of those who are voting on both sides of this bill. I'll be a no vote today in line with the comments of Senator Maroney and Senator Whitcoast. I think that it's critically important to recognize the dire financial circumstances that are facing our community colleges. And I would much rather see a cost savings on the administrative back end rather than a potential future closure of any community college. So I'm pleased that there's a centralization of some of those back office functions. And I'm also really hopeful that this plan will in fact put students first by easing administrative burdens and making it that much more convenient for them to get their degree and eventually pursue a career here in Connecticut. So thank you, and just wanted to explain my vote and thank the chairs for their thoughtful leadership on this issue.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So while I also am very supportive of the concept of combining the back office functions and finding the economies of scale and the savings that can be turned towards the benefit and improvement of the students' experience, the ease of them being able to access required coursework across campuses, and the many other benefits that we've heard about. This being my second year on this committee and having heard this bill in public hearing now twice, I was a little distressed this year to hear really the same concerns about inadequate communication and involvement of faculty and students experiencing, poor or inadequate guidance as to how they can get their sought after degree works accomplished and missing courses that they were needed because of poor planning. And it would seem to me that, we did hear it a year ago, and in the intervening year, not much appeared to have happened. And so because of those concerns, I do believe that there needs to be a higher level of oversight by the legislature on these processes to ensure that all concerns, not just those that are financial in nature, are being addressed. Hopefully, this will be a step in that direction. And for today, although I am looking forward to continuing the conversation and to see how this bill may evolve, I am going to be voting in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Looking around the room, I am seeing no other hands up. So, Madam Administrator, would you prepare the roll? And this is on, let me bring this up, House Bill number 5300, JFS to the floor.
Representative Elliott.
Rep. Elliott votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Slack.
Senator Slack votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haynes.
Sorry, I couldn't find the button. Representative Haynes votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Whitcoast.
Senator Whitcoast votes no.
Thank you. Representative Turco.
Representative Turco votes yes.
Thank you.
Wait,
Senator Flex.
Senator Flexer votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Ackert.
Representative Acker votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Case. Oh. Okay, his camera's coming. Representative Case.
Representative Case votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Exum.
Representative Exum votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Farrar.
Representative Farrar votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haddad.
Representative Haddad votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Haskell.
Senator Haskell votes no.
Thank you. Senator Lopes. Senator Maroney.
Senator Maroney votes no.
Thank you. Representative McGee.
Representative McGee votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Napoli.
Representative Napoli votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Rochelle.
Representative Rochelle votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Scott.
Representative Scott votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Smith.
Representative Smith votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Stalmer. Representative Bale.
Representative Bale votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Wood.
Representative Wood votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Ziogas.
Ziogas votes no.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. We'll now move on to item number 3. Senate Bill number 3, an act requiring the Board of Regents for Higher Education to develop seminar programs for small businesses. This is a JFS to the floor. Could we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Senator Slapp. Could we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Wood. And we'll move to discussion, starting with Senator Slapp, followed by Representative Ackert.
Thank you, Representative Elliott. Just want to commend Senator Looney's leadership and others who have worked on this bill. We heard in his testimony and others that I think this will provide really some valuable resources to our small businesses when they can really use the help. We think it's going to have a very small fiscal note, and we think it's also going to kind of leverage the knowledge and expertise of our state university system and educators. So I think it's a win-win, and the timing couldn't be better, and I urge my colleagues to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Ackert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I do support the legislation. I do have some clarifying questions, though. In lines 3 and 4, small business, is that the state's standard for small business, or is it a larger number? Is it 100 or 50? That was one of the questions I had. I was just not sure if we're redefining small business in this legislation for this piece.
Jesse or Mary Beth or Noreen, do we have an answer to that?
I think.
I'm not sure if there is a standard definition, but we are redefining it for this piece because in other sections of the general statute, small business can be a larger company. But for these purposes, we're talking about 25 employees or less.
Yeah, it seems like a very small business, and I understand that. I just thought it, I think sometimes we should be consistent with the state standards for small business. I know in the federal side, I think it's like 500, but I think our state has a different number. So that was the first one, but thanks for the answer on that. And then just one of the thoughts on lines 21 through 23. It picks the 2 colleges that would have them, Northwestern Connecticut and the Housatonic are the only 2 colleges that will offer that. Is this correct?
Noreen, I'm not sure the answer to this either.
Yes, that's right. Those are the 2 colleges that have that would offer these seminars.
And are they virtual seminars? Because there's none on Eastern Connecticut, and we have some very good schools in Eastern Connecticut. So,
Noreen, you have blanket permission to answer Representative Acker's questions.
Okay. That is not addressed in the bill. They could set it up as a virtual or in person. It's not prescribed in the bill.
well, I appreciate that, and I will be supportive of this. I would hope that when we have an opportunity to offer these programs, that we think about the whole state, and maybe try to address it so that people aren't driving, an hour plus to get to it if they want to be, on the eastern part of Connecticut. So I see that Senator Slapp has his hand up. He may have a comment on that. So I'll relinquish my time.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Slapp, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, totally agree with Representative Acker, and that's important that they're available to businesses all across the state, these courses, in which they will be. Folks have worked with Board of Regents to make sure that there's the capacity to do this online and to offer them for businesses, regardless of the zip code. So I agree with Representative Acker. I think it's a good question, and I know that'll be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I'm seeing no other questions, and without objection, I would like to add this to the consent calendar. And it looks like it can go on the consent calendar. So let's move on to the next item. Next item is item number 4, Senate Bill 20, an act concerning the name, image, and likeness.
I apologize for interrupting. Did we start a consent calendar?
So is that a separate motion altogether to start? Okay, so could we have a motion to start a consent calendar?
Motion to start a consent calendar.
So moved by Representative Acker. Could we have a second? Looks like Representative Haynes wants to second, but while she's muted.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Seconded by Senator Whitcos. We now have a consent calendar. And without objection, I'd like to add item number 3, Senate Bill 3, to the consent calendar. Seeing no objection, we'll move on to item number 4, Senate Bill number 20, an act concerning the name, image, and likeness of student athletes. This is a JF to the floor. We have a motion.
So moved, Senator Slapp.
So moved by Senator Slapp. Could we have a second? Second by Representative Haynes. Do we have any discussion? I'll just start to say that this was what UConn brought to us, just as some minor changes to statute, and that's really it. But if there's any other questions, happy to answer. Representative Haynes, did you have a question? Go right ahead.
I was just going to suggest to move this to the consent calendar.
Without objection, I would like to move this to the consent calendar as well. Seeing no objection, let's move on to item number 5. Senate Bill number 105, an act concerning recommendations by the Office of Higher Education. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Senator Slapp.
So moved by Senator Slapp. Do we have a second?
Second, Senator Whitcos.
Second by Senator Whitcos. Do we have a discussion? Senator Slapp, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We all know that sometimes committees pass legislation or JF bills that are buttoned up and done and ready to go for final action on the floor. This is not one of those. We still have some work to do on this, just to be candid. We've been having good bipartisan discussions with our ranking members, Representative Haynes, Senator Whitcos, and the Office of Higher Education, and other stakeholders, including the independent colleges. We're not there yet, fully on a compromise legislation. I think this is close, but we have some more work to do. So I just want to flag this for people that we'd like to get this out of committee today and continue those discussions. And it's really, questions about reporting in part. How can we make sure that the Office of Higher Education has the information it needs to adequately, monitor and certainly protect students in Connecticut. At the same time, not being onerous on our institutions of higher education. So we're trying to find that balance, and we're continuing discussions to get there. So I just wanted to offer that up prior to action today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Vale, I saw your hand up for a second, then you put it down. Did you? You're good. Okay. So I don't think that this was up for consent. So Madam Administrator, could you prepare the roll? And this is for item number 5, Senate Bill number 105, JF to the floor.
Representative Elliott?
Rep. Elliott votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Slapp?
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haynes?
Too many buttons over here. Representative Haynes votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Whitcos?
Senator Whitcos votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Turco?
Representative Turco votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Flexer?
Senator Flexer votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Ackert?
Representative Ackert votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Case?
Representative Case votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Exum?
Representative Exum votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Farrar?
Representative Farrar votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haddad?
Representative Haddad votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Haskell? Senator Lopes? Senator Maroney?
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Thank you. Representative McGee?
Representative McGee votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Napoli?
Representative Napoli votes yes.
Thank you. Rep. Rochelle? Representative Rochelle? Representative Scott?
Rochelle votes yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, ma'am. Representative Scott?
Representative Scott votes no.
Thank you. Representative Smith?
Representative Smith votes yes.
Thank you. Excuse me, Representative Stallworth? Representative Vale?
Representative Vale votes no.
Thank you. Representative Wood?
Representative Wood votes no.
Thank you. Representative Ziogas?
Ziogas votes yes.
One more time, please. You come up on the screen.
Hang on.
There you are.
Yep. I'm a yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. We'll move on now to item number 6. This is Senate Bill 250, an act concerning student loan reimbursement for Connecticut residents who graduated from a state university. This is a JFS to the floor. Could we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll yield to Representative Turco for the motion.
So moved by Representative Turco. Could we have a second?
Second, it's Senator Slapp.
Second by Senator Slapp. We'll now move to discussion. Representative Ackert, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In past years, I put in legislation very similar to this. And I like the concept. What I get concerns on is the section about the volunteer hours. I think that, I think it's a great concept. I know that our young people in our high schools do volunteer hours, usually 10 hours a year. They get out of the high school per year. 100 hours seems to be very steep. If you really think about the time frame, somebody in college, now they're out of college, going to school, maybe they're still doing exit family, whatever it may be. So I have some concerns on that. So I may flag this as a no vote for one of the reasons, that being it. So I just think that it's not necessary. I think that if they stay here, the legislation I put past that unfortunately this committee didn't raise was very similar. It just the original live here, learn here, which you're working here, and you stay here. Typically, somebody that stays here after 4 years of being in the state typically has going to be here for a while. So that would kind of fit what we're doing here, that they're staying here for long, that usually they've got a good job, their family, whatever. So I like that piece of it. I think we're just asking a little bit too much of them on that side. So I may flag that and discuss it, but I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Whitcos, followed by Representative Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'd like to align my comments with those of the previous speaker. I'm going to flag it with a no vote today, only because the 100 hours I think we heard during the public hearing from folks that deal with students, that causes more anxiety and potential mental health issues than not. We talked about in this committee about housing insecurity, food insecurity, and now we're saying, we know the cost of education's high, but we're trying to find ways to help you pay for it. But part of that is you have to give back in 100 hours. Some of these folks may be working 1, 2, 3 jobs. So for them to try to find another avenue to get to those 100 community service hours is kind of a hard ask. So I'm going to just flag it no today. I like the concept of the bill, and hopefully we can reach some compromise to reduce those 100 hours down as the bill moves along. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Turco, followed by Representative Vale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to speak in support of this bill today and hope that it passes committee. I've been working since I've been within this committee and a legislator for the last 4 years and trying to find ways to offer more students debt relief here in the state of Connecticut. We are one of the highest states in the nation with the average per person student loan debt. And we are one of the only states that doesn't have a program to assist those students. And that might not be entirely accurate anymore because we did pass legislation in 2019 that has just gone to effect that provides a tax credit to businesses that assist students with their student loan debt. So I guess we can count that as some sort of program, but that's very limited on who's actually eligible and receives this. So this program is meant to be more expansive and meant to help a lot more students, hopefully thousands of them. And it's meant to keep young people here in the state to aid our workforce, our businesses, our nonprofits, state government, which needs a lot more employees soon as we see retirements coming on the horizon. And we need a highly educated and talented workforce. So these are college graduates who have debt, who we're trying to keep here in the state. And this is a program designed to assist them in that burden of that debt that they receive. It's also a great recruitment tool for our CSCUs who have struggled with enrollment to say, hey, stay here and go to one of our state universities rather than a university in New York or Massachusetts or one of the competing states. Because when you graduate, if you do have debt, and after staying and living here for 5 years and working here in Connecticut, there's this program where you can volunteer and give back hours of community service, or this JFS language adds military service as well. If you join the National Guard, something like that, you can get assistance with paying off that debt to help you start your life and help you become a homeowner, help you put down roots here in the state of Connecticut. So reversing that brain drain and helping our CSCUs with enrollment in a recruitment tool. And then we are helping create an army of volunteers throughout the state. I know a lot of young people, when they graduate and they're working, do volunteer and help in ways in their community. But now I think we're ensuring that more are getting involved in 501c3 nonprofits or thinking about joining the National Guard and putting in more hours and more time into the community. And to Representative Ackert and Senator Whitcos's point with the 100 hours, that is something that I think the individuals working on this bill, myself included, would be very open to further discussing and saying, and we actually heard from some organizations that said 100 hours wasn't enough. But I think that that's probably at the high limit, and we should all talk and see, what what would be better for the young working professionals to fit into their lives, entering in the workforce, possibly having young children, other responsibilities that they have, what would be a reasonable number? But it sounds like we all agree that asking for some sort of community service hours is a requirement that, helps with this legislation and making sure that, those that need help with reimbursement are also willing to put in to the community and help out others in need throughout the state. So we can work on what those hours are. And, I think we're all very open to trying to figure out what the best number is. And we would love your suggestions in that. And anything else that would help this bill be better, this JFS language, hearing several concerns from different advocates and people that, other representatives that spoke about the bill. It lowered the income limits from 125 a year to 100. It put an age cap of 35 years old that you have to apply for the program. It also includes the military service, which I mentioned. It changed it from 5 years to 4 years. So now someone's eligible for $5,000 a year for up to 4 years for a total of $20,000 instead of 25. And that was a suggestion from leadership in the House so that the program could help just more individuals. The dollars potentially allocated to it can go even further. But we are very open as this bill continues through the process to making further modifications and have the best bill possible to really help young professionals with their debt here in the state. So I strongly support the bill. I hope we can vote it out of the committee. I understand some of my colleagues who expressed concerns and ways they'd like to make the bill better, and I look forward to working with you through the process. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Vale, followed by Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I'm on my own on thinking that the 100 hours of community service is a good thing. You're looking at $20,000 of a benefit, and 100 hours, that would be $200 an hour for the community service. I think it inspires young people to get involved and do something for their community. So that's one thing I don't have a problem with. When I listened to the public testimony, they talked about a price tag on this of between $10 million and $20 million. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
That is correct, Representative.
And where would that money come from?
Representative Turco, do you have any comments on that?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Through you, Mr. Chairman, we had conversations as late as yesterday with leadership, at least in the House, on the appropriations, the Finance Committee, and the majority leader to brainstorm potential ways, and talked about the possibility of it being an allocation on our budget, or a possibility of it being bonded with low interest rates that exist right now. So those discussions are happening, and we'd love to include as many people that want to be part of those discussions as possible to figure out the best revenue source. Thank you.
And again, I have one more concern as well. Why would this just apply to state schools? So if someone was born and raised in Connecticut, they go to a college, any other college, and they're going to stay here after they get their degree, they're still a Connecticut resident. They could go to a private school here in Connecticut. This wouldn't apply to them. They could go to a school out of state. Their parents and families still live in Connecticut, and they'd be staying in Connecticut. So was there any thought to doing that, or was it just because the price tag would be that much greater, it'd be that much more difficult? Was that the reason behind it, or is there some specific reason why we're only including state schools?
Representative Turco, would you like to answer that?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. As somebody that graduated from a private university, I grew up out of state. I grew up in New York and went to a private university here in Connecticut, and then made Connecticut my home, and had $60,000 worth in debt. I'm one of those people who would love to have this expanded to allow for those who went to a private university. But as the representative mentioned, I think The reasoning behind not including those graduating from private universities and living here in Connecticut afterwards was just because it would expand the price tag to a number that might not be obtainable in this year's budget. But I think the intent of those working on this legislation is this is step one. And then we'll see when the program's implemented, how many individuals actually participate and are willing to do the community service and want to be part of this to help get student loan debt relief. And then we can have further discussions to expand it, next year or the year after to those who graduated from a private university or college in Connecticut. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, I have some concerns. I think we don't know exactly how we're gonna fund this yet. I do have concerns how it doesn't apply to all students, just those who went to state school. So I will be voting no on this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Smith, followed by Representative Case.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just would like to make a couple of comments in support of the bill. First, I really like the bill. I think it does a number of things for us, and one which, at least in my view, maybe is a partial answer for Representative Vale as well, is, as we all know, institutions of higher education are increasingly competing against each other for students. The number of students going to college is perhaps not quite as high, at least right now, as it had been some years ago. And so there is a higher level of competition to get qualified students into our state universities and institutions here. And, considering that the state has invested much money over many decades in our state colleges and universities, it seems to me that if we're going to start a program like this, the logical place to start it would be to help those institutions drive higher enrollments to make them more financially sound. I also think it's a great thing to provide relief to students who are committed to staying in Connecticut. And, down the road, I think it would be worthy to also, include students at other institutions. But if we need to start somewhere, I think we should start by supporting our public universities and colleges and see how it works, and really gain experience over time as to what that financial commitment is, so that we can be informed better in the future as to what it would take to expand it. If we look at it as it would be a pilot just focused on state universities, I just think it's a really good thing and could benefit in many ways, not only our universities and colleges, but also offset somewhat what we perceive to be a stream of people who don't stay in our state, particularly young people. So I think it works for us on a number of different levels, and I'm very supportive of it and hope that it will continue. On the question of the number of hours of community service, I would love to see that number go down, because I think that it may be a barrier to entry for some people who don't think they can make that commitment. But I think if it was lower, if it was 50, for example, it would be less than 1 hour a week. And as any of us who have gotten involved in some sort of volunteer service, once you get involved, you do find yourself doing more over time. And I think that those hours would go up naturally anyway. So I applaud any effort to lower that entry level number. And I think that we would see the nonprofits reporting over time that hours went up, regardless of that lower threshold. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. And Representative Case, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question, so Tesla loans, anybody in the state can get a Tesla loan no matter where you're going. Is that correct?
Yes, Noreen, is that accurate?
Yes, that is true. Yep.
Yes, Representative.
So a Tesla loan is loaned through the state of Connecticut at a lower interest rate, about 4.25 on their website. So why are we going to restrict this to people who can't get Chestnut loans, or who get Chestnut loans but don't go to just state universities? It's our money, it's our dollars. I just have a concern seeing all the students out there that do have student loans across the state, whether it's CHESLA, CHEFA, personal loans. right now, in this bill, it's just taking a certain group of people, but there's many others that get approved for Czechla loans. So wouldn't we want to, since it's a state-funded agency, try to open it so that everybody who's eligible can get into it? Or do we want to change the language and make it a pilot? It doesn't say pilot, through you.
Representative Turco, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You are correct that there are other loan companies that people could, get their student loans and have debt with, other than Czechla. The original intent was to incentivize people to refinance their loans with Czechla, or to take Czechla loans out rather than perhaps a predatory lending company or a lending company with a much higher interest rate or variable interest. So this is looking out for the best interest of the student holding that debt to refinance with a quasi-public that we have oversight with, that is offering a really good product. So that's that side of it. And the other side, as far as, I think this goes back to what Representative Vail said, with expanding it to individuals that graduated from private universities and not just our public universities. I think that is definitely something we can further discuss. And I think we'd like to do that so that more individuals here in the state can be eligible. The concern was just the cost. So rather than, only 2,000 or 3,000 people being able to benefit from this now, it would, perhaps double that. And Czechla can give us those numbers. And then instead of needing 10 to 15 million, we need 25 to 30 million. And that would just perhaps be more difficult to obtain in the budget this year. So I hope that answered the question.
So I guess somewhat, but anybody who has a Czechla loan should be available to use this. That's my concern. And also this has to go to appropriations, or who does Czechla, isn't that out of the treasurer's office to where they do those loans? And you're correct, where does the money come from? And one other thing that was said that bothers me is possibly bonding to pay off people's loans. So we're going to borrow to pay off loans. That to me is not good business for the state of Connecticut. If we have the dollars, we help them pay down their loans. And for that reason, I will be a no. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. I am seeing no further hands up. So with that, Madam Administrator, would you prepare the roll for, where did you go? Senate Bill 250, and this is a JFS to the floor.
Representative Elliott?
Rep. Elliott votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Slack?
Senator Slack votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haynes?
Representative Haynes votes no.
One more time, please. I don't have you on screen.
Representative Haynes votes no.
Thank you. Senator Whitcos?
Senator Whitcos votes no.
Thank you. Representative Turco?
Representative Turco votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Flexer?
Senator Flexer in a stationary vehicle passes.
Representative Ackert?
Representative Ackert votes no.
Thank you. Representative Case?
Sorry, Madam Chair, did you call me?
Yes, Representative Case?
Sorry, I didn't hear. Representative Case votes no.
Thank you. Representative Exum?
Representative Exum votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Farrar?
Representative Farrar votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haddad?
Representative Haddad votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Haskell?
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Lopes? Senator Maroney?
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Thank you. Representative McGee?
Representative McGee votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Napoli?
Representative Napoli votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Rochelle?
Representative Rochelle votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Scott,
Representative Scott votes no.
Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes yes.
thank you. Representative Stallworth, Representative Vale,
Representative Vale votes no.
thank you. Representative Wood, Representative Ziogas,
Ziogas votes yes.
thank you. Senator Flexer, do you want to vote now or you do it later?
Later.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam.
Chair.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. We'll now move on to item number 7, Senate Bill 251, an act expanding training programs for careers in healthcare. This is a JFS to the floor. Could we have a motion?
So moved.
I didn't see who that was from. So moved by Representative Farrar.
Second, Mr.
I heard a few. Could we get one? Could we get that a second time?
You went from multiple to none. I'll second.
Seconded by Senator Whitcoast. Do we have any discussion? I'm seeing a hand up from Representative Ackert. Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Representative Haynes,
Chair.
just know you
I
are.
appreciate the time again. Listen, we're kind of picking one career. If you look at the state of Connecticut right now and the workforce that we have, we are lagging behind all the other New England states in workers and retention of workers. We're woefully below the national average. This isn't just a one career problem. Yeah, it's a career problem, but we have multiple career problems. Look at the help wanted signs that are out there. We got to look at a global look at what we're doing wrong in Connecticut. We have to find healthcare but I think it's just the fact that we don't have training, or reduced training, and we have so many programs out there. So I hope that the Office of Workforce Strategy looks at, how we can make it that people want to come here to work rather than jump in and go next door to work and maybe someplace else. But I am supportive of this, and we'll definitely support this legislation. But let's and I know this is just, and I don't want to say just higher education, because it's a great committee. But we got to look at a complete holistic view of what we're doing in Connecticut that will keep our workers here, that want to go to school and live here. We have some good things out there. Connecticut's a great place to live. Let's make it affordable. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Slapp, followed by Representative Farrar.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We heard in the public hearing, person after person testify about why this bill was important and why the timing is so critical. We all know that we have a real mental health crisis in the state, and this bill is, I think, a piece of it, a small piece of it, but something that helps contribute to it. I know Representative Exum, who's part of our committee on this call, is one of the leaders in the General Assembly in helping to craft a bipartisan response to this mental health crisis. And I've heard her say many times that we need help on the provider side, and I think that this is going to help address that pipeline. So it's a good bill, and the timing, I think, could be more important right now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Farrar.
Thank you, Chairman. Just echoing Senator Slapp's comments a little bit, and Representative Ackert's, I don't think this is meant to be the sole solution to all of our workforce development needs. But one of the things I do appreciate in the bill is actually attention to some of the partnerships that can happen with housing. And that is a real need for so many folks who are pursuing many of these careers. And I can't help but note that I think at the heart of a lot of our workforce concerns is something even that CBIA supported yesterday, which is, ensuring that we have more affordable and accessible childcare, because that is at the heart of why we have so many worker shortages right now. And I think this bill attempts to get at that a little bit holistically. So thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. I'm seeing no other hands. So, Madam Administrator, would you prepare the roll for item number 7, Senate Bill 251, JFS to the floor?
Representative Elliott?
Rep. Elliott votes. Oh,
Representative
Representative
Haynes has a hand up.
Haynes, do you have a comment?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No
I'd
problem.
like- Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay. I would like to propose to put this on consent.
Without objection, I'd like to put this on the consent calendar. Seeing none, thank you, Representative. We will move on to item number 8. This is Senate Bill number 252, an act establishing tax credits for employers who make payments toward tuition costs of employees and donate to endowed professorships. This is a JFS to the floor. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
So moved by Senator Whitcomb. Do we have a second?
Second by Representative Ackert.
Second by Representative Ackert. Discussion, starting with Senator Whitcomb, followed by Senator Slapp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the committee for bringing this bill forward. I'm going to vote in favor of it today. However, as the bill moves forward, I did, in discussion within our caucus, have a concern that I'm hoping that we can get behind with my Senate colleagues to address before the bill goes to the House. And that would be to put some kind of language in that would prevent an employer who happens to have a son or daughter work for them, that they can donate, make a payment to their son or daughter's education loan, and they could take the tax credit for that, because that's not how it was designed. So I'm looking to put some kind of safeguard in the future for that. But with that said, Mr. Chairman, good bill, ought to pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Slapp, go right ahead.
Thank you, Representative Elliott. Yeah, great point by Senator Whitcomb. That is something we should absolutely look at. That's not the intent of the legislation, I know. I would just add that we had a suggestion from one of my colleagues that the title of the bill should actually say "or" as opposed to "and" in the middle there. And it's not a requirement to do both of those things in order to qualify. But anyway, look forward to working with my colleagues to move this along. I believe it was Representative Smith too, who made that very astute observation. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Smith, as if you've been saying, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although it's not open on my other screen right now, I must have inadvertently closed it. But I think that the LCO version of this bill that we saw, that was attached to the email we got, made that change. So perhaps somebody from Noreen may be able to confirm that.
That's right. In the substitute
Noreen?
language, the title is changed.
So thank you for raising that, Senator Slapp, and thank you, Noreen, for making sure that happened.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Haynes, go right ahead.
When you say I have a.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to offer to put this one on consent as well.
Sounds good to me. Without objection, this will be added to the consent calendar. Seeing none, we will now move on to the next item. That is item number 9. This is House Bill 5137, an act studying and funding the Roberta B. Willis Scholarship Program. This is a JFS to the floor. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
So moved by Senator Whitcomb. Do we have a second?
Second, Representative Turco.
Second by Representative Turco. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none. Representative Haynes, I'll just check in with you. I don't think this was on the consent calendar, but just want to make sure.
Actually,
Oh, no.
Mr. Chair, I believe it is.
I think as soon as I said that, I realized I was wrong. Without objection, I'd like to move this to the consent calendar. Hearing and seeing no objection, we'll now move on to item number 10. This is House Bill number 5299, an act increasing the age for eligibility for the post-secondary education funding program offered by the Department of Children and Families. This is a JFS to the floor. Could we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
So moved by Senator Whitcomb. Do we have a second?
Second, Senator Slav.
Second by Senator Slapp. Do we have any discussion? Representative Smith, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick comment. I saw that in the LCO language, the age was lowered. And as I had expressed the other day, that I find that a little bit disappointing because I know that there are people that will age out of this program before they're ready to take advantage of it. However, in the spirit of something is better than nothing, and this will help some people, I am going to support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Administrator, would you prepare the roll for item number 10, House Bill 5299, JFS to the floor?
Representative Elliott.
Representative Elliott votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Slav.
Senator Slav votes yes.
One more time, you didn't come up on the screen.
Senator Slav votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haynes.
Representative Haynes votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Whitcomb.
Senator Whitcomb votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Turco.
Representative Turco votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Flexer.
Senator Flexer from a still stationary vehicle votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Ackert.
Representative Ackert votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Case.
Representative Case votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Exum.
Representative Exum votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Farrar.
Representative Farrar votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haddad.
From my stationary home office, I vote yes.
Thank you. Senator Haskell.
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Lopes. Senator Barone.
Senator Barone votes yes.
Thank you. Representative McGee.
Representative McGee votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Napoli.
Representative Napoli votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Rochelle.
Representative Rochelle votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Scott.
Representative Scott votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Smith.
Representative Smith votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Stallworth. Representative Dale.
From row 2D at the Legislative Office Building, Representative Bale votes no.
Thank you. Representative Wood.
Representative Wood votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Ziogas.
Ziogas votes yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. We will now move on to item number 11. This is House Bill 5301, an act concerning workforce development. This is a JFS to the floor. Could we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
So moved by Senator Whitcomb. Thanks for making this work every time. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Senator Slav.
We have a second from Representative Exum. Everybody very excited to be a second. We'll now move to discussion. Representative Vale, followed by Representative Case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could I ask what is the point and what are we trying to accomplish through this bill?
Maureen, do you have a comment here? Is this is the governor's bill, or is this a placeholder?
This is a placeholder.
This is the placeholder. That's right.
And that's what I was looking for. So I fundamentally have a problem with placeholder bills because we have a process that works. You know, you submit bills, you go through the committee process, you have a public hearing, you debate, and you have a committee meeting like this. And now we could have something that comes in that never got a public hearing. And and can be thrown on something like this if it's considered germane to the underlying thing, which is a very broad title. So I oppose this type of legislation in general. So that's why I will be voting no on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Would it change your mind if I said that we were holding this open for daylight savings time legislation? We'll now move on to Representative Case.
Gosh, that was a good one. Hey, and I'd like to echo his Representative Bales. I've always, for my 10 years here, when there's a bill with no language, I can't feel as though I can vote it out of committee without having any language to look at. You come to the floor, you put language in that doesn't even pertain to the title. I'm sorry, but I have to vote no.
Not a problem at all. Moving on to Representative Ackert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I've got some fantastic language that we can add to this that deals with ratios and apprentices. So I look forward to voting for this and then lobbying you to add that in into this committee. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Representative Ackert. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Administrator, would you prepare the roll? This is for item number 11, House Bill 5301, JFS, to the floor.
Representative Elliott.
Representative Elliott votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Slack.
Senator Slack votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haynes.
Representative Haynes votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Whitcomb.
Senator Whitcoast votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Turco.
Representative Turco votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Flexer.
Senator Flexer from a still stationary vehicle votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Ackert.
Resoundingly votes yes. Representative Ackert resoundingly votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Case.
Representative Case votes no.
Thank you. Representative Exum.
Representative Exum votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Farrar.
Representative Farrar votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haddad.
Representative Haddad votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Haskell.
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Lopes. Senator Maroney.
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Thank you. Representative McGee.
Representative McGee votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Napoli.
Representative Napoli votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Rochelle.
Representative Rochelle votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Scott.
Representative Scott votes no.
Thank you. Representative Smith.
Representative Smith votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Stallworth. Representative Vale.
Representative Vale votes no.
Thank you. Representative Wood.
Representative Wood votes no.
Thank you. Representative Ziogas.
Ziogas will be no.
One more time, you didn't come up on screen, please.
Ziogas is no.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. We will now move on to item number 12, Senate Bill 279, an act concerning the recommendations of the Legislative Commissioner's Office regarding minor and technical changes to the higher education and employment advancement statutes. This is a JF to the floor. Could we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Senator Whitcoast. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Maroney. Do we have any discussion? Representative Haynes?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move this to the consent calendar.
Let's go ahead and without objection, move this to the consent calendar. We will now move on to item number 13, Senate Bill 103, an act concerning the Connecticut Health and Educational Facilities Authority and the Connecticut Higher Education Supplemental Loan Authority. This is JFS to the floor. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
So moved by Senator Whitcoast. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Haynes. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Administrator, you know what? Let's see, what item number is this? This is item Number 13. Go ahead, Representative Haynes.
I would like to propose to move this to the consent calendar, Mr. Chair.
That sounds great. Without objection, we will move item number 13 to the consent calendar. Seeing no objection, we'll move on to item number 14, Senate Bill number 17, an act prohibiting an institution of higher education from withholding transcripts. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Senator Whitcomb. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Wood. Do we have any discussion? Senator Slapp, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is one of those bills that I had. It's funny, I went on a roller coaster with this bill a little bit personally, because at the first glance, and when I looked at it, I thought I was very intrigued. Got the arguments about how this is, something that really should be avoided. The transcripts holds, and and thought this was almost a no-brainer. And then we went through the public hearing, and that's the great value of public hearings. And I learned a lot about the unintended consequences potentially of just getting rid of them, prohibiting them completely. We heard from some institutes of higher education how they would simply cut off the spigot, so to speak, in terms of preventing students from registering from classes earlier. That's an unintended consequence, I think, that nobody wants to necessarily see, and potentially increasing the reporting of students to collection agencies, which is also not a good thing. I am pleased that we were able to work with the various stakeholders to, I think, come to a good place for this legislation, where there are some areas in where students, especially for employment, that's really what this focus is on, where students can make sure that potential employers get those transcripts, so they are able to get employed, they're able to move forward in life, and they're able to pay off those loans, and make good on their obligations. So I think this finds the right balance and threads the needle and takes into account, a lot of the concerns that we heard from our institutes of higher education. So I'll be supporting it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. I am going to look around the room, see if anybody has any further questions. Senator Whitcomb, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just for example's sake, if a student finishes their degree or certification program and just has not finalized their debt with the institution, we're saying that for whatever their reason is, maybe they are disputing something or they just don't have the wherewithal. So then they go and apply for a job, and the employer says, send me your transcript or show me a copy of a diploma. They say, I don't have a copy of my diploma, but I can get you a copy of my transcript. So the student applies to the school to say, hey, here's a prospective employer. Send the employer my transcript, or does the transcript go to the student? And then what recourse does the institution have, to make sure that the debt is collected? There's nothing that bars the institution from continuing on seeking outside third-party assistance, i.e. debt collectors, to collect that debt. Is that correct?
I believe everything you've said, Senator Whitcomb, is exactly correct. The transcripts would go directly to the employer, and the institution of higher education would be able to go through whatever steps necessary to collect on any money owed.
So I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that answer. And I like my good Senate chair was on a roller coaster actually in caucus earlier. I said, I'm definitely against this bill because there's no recourse for the colleges to collect that money. However, just with my recent re-understanding of the bill, through you, Mr. Chair, that they can pursue additional or existing avenues of getting that. And I don't necessarily think that preventing a student from gaining employment, we shouldn't create it. We shouldn't create a barrier to that. And if currently there is a barrier, if they can't get a copy of the transcript to show that they've completed the work, I mean, there's nothing that the educational institutions doesn't bar them from going after the individual to collect the money that's owed to them. So I'm going to support the bill today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Case, I see a hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, and I see the part on employment. What if a student wants to go to graduate school?
We specifically excluded schools from this about being able to get those transcripts. The concern being that if you are defaulting on a debt with a current institution of higher education, it is against public policy for you to simply go to another school where you would likely face similar difficulties. So it protects potentially both the student and the institution of higher education that the student would be seeking to go to.
So what if you were at UConn and you went to get a master's degree within UConn? The graduate school is a different school than the UConn branch itself. Are you not able to get your transcript to go to graduate school or law school?
Don't know. Noreen, could you weigh in on that?
Right, yeah, this bill only allows release to a potential or a current employer. It doesn't allow release. I mean, the school could do it on their own, but this bill doesn't require that.
Okay, so we're gonna hold up people to going from the undergraduate going to get their graduate degree and then go out and get their job and get into be a doctor or a professor because they have to pay that bill first for the undergraduate. Is that correct?
Could you repeat that question, Representative Case?
Can't hear. Repeat the question, please.
I was asking if you could repeat the question, Representative Case.
I'm sorry, I was having a little bit of trouble hearing myself here. So if you are taking classes at UConn, like I said, and you want to take graduate classes and move on to go become a doctor, go to law school, we're going to prevent them from doing that, even though you're within the same institution.
It's not that we're going to prevent it. The school could still do it if they want to. We just aren't going to force the school to do it.
Okay, I think we're pro-education in this state, and I think we ought to work with the students to pay their bills, number one, but we shouldn't eliminate people from moving on in their education, because that's the way they're going to be able to get their jobs through graduate school for those people who want those portions of much higher education. And I have a problem with it because if you're going, even if you're going from UConn to UConn, but if you're going from UConn to another school, we shouldn't be stopping that. I think that's going to be a crimp in our system, but and I won't be, I will be a no vote today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Vale, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, when you enter college, I view that as an agreement and a contract. You pay money, however you choose to do it, whether you get grants, scholarships, or whatever, and the university agrees to educate you. But then at the end, you get a degree as long as you paid your part of it. So I don't understand why we would take the ability of these universities, and many of them came up to testify that it's actually a good tool for them to be able to collect their money. I don't understand why we would force that upon this. I'm a no on this, and for those reasons, not some of the other ones that were mentioned earlier. I think we need to start to teach people. I think in the society we got a lot. We've gone away from accountability, and constantly looking at ways for people not to have to do something they agreed to do. I don't think that's a good precedent. I think we do that way too much here as it is. So again, I'm going to be a no.
Thank you, Representative. It looks like there is no further discussion. So Madam Administrator, would you prepare the roll for item number 14, Senate Bill 17, an act prohibiting an institution of higher education from withholding transcripts. This is a JFS to the floor.
Representative Elliott?
Representative Elliott votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Slack?
Senator Slack votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Haynes?
Representative Haynes votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Whitkus?
Senator Whitkus votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Turco?
Representative Turco votes yes.
Thank you. Senator Flexer?
Senator Flexer votes yes.
One more time, you didn't come up on screen, please.
That's stationary.
Senator Flexer, you didn't come up on screen.
Senator Flexer passes then.
Okay, thank you. Representative Acker,
Representative Acker votes yes.
thank you. Representative Case,
Representative Case votes no.
thank you. Representative Exum,
Representative Exum votes yes.
thank you. Representative Farrar,
Representative Farrar votes yes.
thank you. Representative Haddad,
Representative Haddad votes yes.
thank you. Senator Haskell,
Senator Haskell votes yes.
thank you. Senator Lopes, Senator Maroney,
Senator Maroney votes yes.
thank you. Representative McGee,
Representative McGee votes yes.
thank you. Representative Napoli,
Representative Napoli votes yes.
thank you. Representative Rochelle,
Representative Rochelle votes yes.
thank you. Representative Scott,
Representative Scott votes no.
thank you. Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes yes.
thank you. Representative Stallworth,
Representative Stallworth votes yes.
thank you. Representative Vale,
Representative Vale votes no.
thank you. Representative Wood,
Representative Wood votes yes.
thank you. Representative Ziogas,
Ziogas votes yes.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. I think that there is the final bit of needing to now take action on the consent calendar. So could we get a motion? Do we need a motion for this, or do I just simply spell out what the bills are that are in the consent calendar?
I think you need a motion.
Noreen, is that right?
We already have the motions.
We're just
think
taking a
you
vote.
can-
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, you can list the bills for clarity and
Got it.
call for roll.
Okay, so we're gonna call the roll for the consent calendar, which comprises item number 3, Senate Bill 3, item number 4, Senate Bill number 20, item number 7, Senate Bill 251, item number 8, Senate Bill 252, item number 9, House Bill number 5137, item number 12, Senate Bill number 279, sorry, and item number 13, Senate Bill number 103. Could we get clarification and just make sure that I had that exactly correct? I'm getting a thumbs up for my ranking, and if I get my thumbs up for my ranking, then I feel good. So with that, Madam Administrator, would you call the roll?
Okay, on the consent calendar, Representative Elliott,
Representative Elliott votes yes.
thank you. Senator Slapp,
Senator Slapp votes yes.
thank you. Representative Haynes,
Representative Haynes votes yes.
thank you. Senator Whitghouse,
Senator Whitcomb votes yes.
thank you. Representative Turco,
Representative Turco votes yes.
thank you. Senator Flexer,
Senator Flexer votes yes.
thank you. Representative Acker,
Representative Acker votes yes.
thank you. Representative Case,
Representative Case votes yes.
thank you. Representative Exum,
Representative Exum votes yes.
thank you. Representative Farrar,
Representative Farrar votes yes.
oh, one more time, you didn't come up on screen, please?
Representative Farrar votes yes.
Please, thank you. Representative Haddad,
Representative Haddad votes yes.
thank you. Senator Haskell,
Senator Haskell votes yes.
thank you. Senator Lopes, Senator Maroney,
Senator Maroney votes yes.
thank you. Representative McGee,
Representative McGee votes yes.
thank you. Representative Napoli,
Representative Napoli votes yes.
thank you. Representative Rochelle,
Representative Rochelle votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Scott,
Representative Scott votes yes.
thank you. Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes yes.
thank you. Representative Stallworth,
Representative Stallworth votes yes.
one more time, you can come up on screen, please.
Representative Stallworth votes yes.
There you are, thank you, sir. Representative Vale,
Representative Vale votes yes.
thank you. Representative Wood,
Representative Wood votes yes.
thank you. Representative Ziogas, looks like it's not in the room. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. So we are going to have some final comments before we all just leave. And so we will be holding votes open and we will be recessing until 3. It's 1 o'clock now. And before we end, I just want to just make a few points of personal privilege, which is to say, Madam Administrator, Jeannie Phillips, you have done an exceptional job helping a very new chair lead this committee over the past 2 years. I'm incredibly appreciative of your time and patience. So thank you so much. Jesse Callahan and Mary Beth Sullivan, I have leaned on all of your exceptional work over the last 2 years as well, and would not have been able to get through the screenings and get through these meetings without everything that you've done. Noreen, I think that your expertise is just absolutely phenomenal, and I'm deeply appreciative for all of the various minor detail questions that I've had over and over again. So thank you so much. And Janelle Stevens of OFA, I'm not seeing her on the call, but I do want to give her a shout out. She was incredible as well. And so I hope I didn't miss anybody, but Senator Slapp, go right ahead.
Thank you, Representative Elliott. And I want to echo your gratitude and thanks for, of course, Jeannie and our great nonpartisan staff from OLR and OFA. You know, you are the glue that holds the committee together and makes it work, and we're really grateful for your professionalism. So thank you. And if it wasn't, you know, COVID times, who knows, we might all be going out and having a JF party later on, but we'll have to take a rain check on that, but thank you. I also want to just acknowledge our vice chairs and also our ranking members, Senator Whitkos and Representative Haynes. It's just a pleasure working with you, and I think we're a great team, and you know, we don't always agree on every single thing, or do all Democrats do, but I really appreciate the way we work together collaboratively and respectfully. And so thank you for that. And just lastly, want to acknowledge that, you know, for Senator Haskell and Senator Whitkos, your last go around on the Higher Education Committee. As a member of the Senate, I'll have plenty of opportunity to roast them later on the Senate floor, but do want to just acknowledge their work and their public service on this committee. And I know their constituents are grateful, and the state of Connecticut is for your service and leadership. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I don't see hands, but I do want to kick it over to Senator Whitkos if you do have any final parting thoughts for us.
Well, I just want to say, you know, thank you to the nonpartisan staff for all that you do, and to everybody on this committee. It's been great working with you, Josh, and Derek and Irene, leadership in this committee. You know, we've really focused what we wanted to get accomplished, and Gary, this legislative session. And I think it's important, rather than just throwing a ton of things in there and see whatever sticks. I think that how the leadership of this committee kind of brought in all the ideas, set the agenda, and let's move it forward. And we're doing great things for our state and for our students and our institutions. And I'm glad I been able to be a part of it. And I want to thank you both, everybody here, for all that you've done, the nice comments that I've been receiving, and looking forward to crossing the final finish line on May 4th with everybody.
Thanks, Senator. Representative Haynes, anything that you'd like to share?
Sure, just to say thank you again to my colleagues and everything, all our staff. They've done an amazing job, and I have to say that as a my first job in a committee ranking. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate everybody and all our work. So thank you so much.
It was a pleasure working with you as well. I'd kick it off to Vice Chair Flexer, but it looks like she has left us. So Representative Turco, any final words before we close up shop?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know a big part of the work this session was getting things through committee, but now we have to pass them both the floors of the House and the Senate. So we need to continue this collaboration and fine tuning of the legislation, and thank in advance OLR and LCO and OFA, who will be doing a lot of work to make sure that we get all of our ducks in a row here and can pass the best legislation possible. So it's been a pleasure serving on this committee, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. And Janelle, I do see you, so I will personally say thank you so much for all of your work over this past session. So it is 1:10. We will hold votes open until 3 o'clock, and we will recess until then. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy your Thursday afternoon.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Jeannie, can I vote number 1?
Okay, let's see. Representative Case on House Bill 5115 to increase the number of child care centers.
Case votes no.
Okay, thank you.
That's the only one I missed, I think, Jeannie, right?
Let me
Yeah.
just double check though while I have you here, just in case.
I think it was.
Yeah, because I was in human
Yes,
services.
that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Jeannie, for everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Haskell, let me just make sure.
Hi, Jeannie. I think it was just one. I couldn't find the button
Senate Bill
quite fast enough.
105. Senate Bill 105.
Yes, I would like to vote yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great St. Patrick's Day.
You too, thank you. Okay, Representative Wood, let's see.
Yes, I had, it was item number 6 on the agenda, Senate Bill 250.
Yes, how would you like to vote?
I'm voting no.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Jeannie. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Always good spirit. So appreciate everything you've done this year, this
Love
session.
having you on the committee. You were fun.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you. Representative Exum?
Yes, hi, Jamie. I missed the first vote. I couldn't get to my button fast enough.
I'm sorry, I was trying to wait, but I can't see all the names on the side, so I don't always know who's in the room when we're voting. Okay, so this is House Bill 5115?
That's right. So I'd like to vote yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you also for everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so very much.
It's been a joy having you on here.
Oh, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You will.
Representative Stallworth, are you still?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to start with House Bill 5115. That's increasing the number of child care centers on or near each campus of regional community technical colleges and state universities.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And 5300, requiring legislative approval for the merger of closures of institutions within the Connecticut state colleges and universities and prohibiting the consolidation of the regional community colleges.
Yes.
Thank you. And Senate Bill 105 concerning recommendations of the Office of Higher Ed.
Yes.
Thank you. And Senate Bill 250 concerning student loan reimbursement for Connecticut residents who graduated from a state university.
Yes.
Thank you. And increasing the age for eligibility of post-secondary education funding program offered by Department of Children and Families.
Yes.
Thank you. And 5301, an act concerning workforce development.
Yes.
Thank you. And okay, you're all set. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Been very helpful as well. I echo what everyone else has said.
Thank you. It's great to see you, sir.
Thank you. Great seeing you as well. Take care. Have a great day.
Representative Scott? Representative Scott, Representative Scott, are you there? I have you missing a vote.
Hello.
Here we go.
Sorry, I actually was on the public hearing for public safety just now, so I just needed to speak up or ask a couple quick questions. So I appreciate you sending me the reminder notification though. It's only bill number, the first bill, right? The 85115?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I'm gonna be no to Representative Scott votes no for that one.
Okay, can I just look at the others while you're sitting there?
Sure.
Before, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Correct, you're all set. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Hi, Madam Clerk. Sorry to keep you waiting. I would like to vote yes on the two things I missed.
Okay, let me just, okay, the first one was Senate Bill 250. So yes for that.
Yes, please.
And the next one was Senate Bill 17. Yes for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
You
please.
did the consent calendar, didn't you?
I
Yes,
did.
you did. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Got my green on.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, Jeannie.
I get my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing here.
Yeah,
How you doing today?
good.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
The first one is House Bill 5115, requiring.
The chair. I assume that I assume. Let me talk.
Yep.
I assume. Jesus Christ. I assume that the chair has voted yes on every bill.
They did.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, so this is House Bill 5115. It's about increasing the number of child care centers at regional community technical colleges and state universities.
Yes.
Thank you. And next is House Bill 5300, legislative approval for merger of closures at the CSCU and prohibiting the consolidation of the community colleges.
Yes.
Thank you. And next is Senate Bill 105, recommendations by the Office of Higher Education.
Yes.
Thank you. And Senate Bill 250, this is about student loan reimbursement for Connecticut residents who graduated from a state university.
Yes.
Thank you. And House Bill 5299, increasing the age of eligibility for the post-secondary education funding program offered by Department of Children and Families.
Yes.
Thank you. And House Bill 5301, an act concerning workforce development.
Yes.
Thank you. And House Bill 17, Senate Bill 17, sorry, prohibiting an institution of higher ed from withholding transcripts.
Yes.
And the other bills, do you want me to go through what's on the consent calendar, or do you just want to vote on it?
I can vote on the consent calendar. I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.